Hello, Leo. Great to have you here. My name is Shona. Today's reading is a general love forecast for November 2025. As always, take the messages that resonate and release anything that doesn't. Don't forget to like, and subscribe to stay connected with upcoming readings. Let's see what's headed your way, Leo. Very happy Valentine's Day. I hope you enjoy yourself with your loved ones and significant others. One of the main thing I was sensing here is I feel for a lot of you, you're juggling two people, in a romantic setting. So I feel like you want to be careful, especially when it comes to, it is the month of Valentine's Day. So people want clear answers. They want to make sure that you have intentions of, making plans with them on Valentine's Day, especially if you've been dating for a while. So you just want to keep that in mind and try to do that. I feel like there's some confrontation coming through. Yep. Juggling, mistress, main woman confronting you. So you want to just be very, very careful. Yeah. So it's a pretty straightforward message here. There's definitely a mistress, a mister in the mix, and someone is being called out on it, okay? And I do believe it is you, so just be very, very careful, Leos, especially for Leo men, I feel. So let's see. I feel that one significant relationship is going to come to an end this month for a lot of you. I feel that there isn't going to be the big massive blowout confrontation or anything like that, but I do feel the other person is pretty much going to be at their wits end, and they're just not going to tolerate it. I feel for those of you who have been in threesome types of situation, okay? So let's look at this. And you're not, I don't feel, yeah, you're not showing up on the spread here. So let's just see your energies. I'm going to use the 2-wand energy as your energy, okay? Because you're not showing up here. So the first thing here is the 3 of Wands. And the 3 of Wands is a card about waiting for your ship to come in. When it's in the reverse position, it means that, the opportunity that you cast or your hopes and aspirations in is being delayed. And I do feel for a lot of you, this is a case about work situation, work projects, and relationships. It's the wand energy. It deals with something that we are very passionately invested in. So for a lot of you, there might be, let me say this first, male or female, there might be a person that is traveling from overseas, or they're coming they're coming a distance away in order to see you. And I feel like there are blockages as to them coming to see you, mainly because there might be a third party in the relationship. There might be a work situation that was not done right. And as a result, they're stuck there and they can't physically make it to see you. So I do feel communications and travel delays. If it is not you, it's coming in from the other person. If it is you, then I do feel that it is going to be emotionally destabilizing, but I do sense that it's happening for a reason, and I do feel that it's preventing you from some catastrophe down the road, okay? So that's what I'm sensing first. So the 3 of Wands is also about having options. So this is, romantic prospects, having a lot of options on your plate, and it's not looking too great when it's next to the Devil card. The Devil card indicates restriction. It indicates, all these really unhealthy habits, binds, ways of doing things that we're doing that keeps us very stuck. So a lot of it has to do with, in like addictions, alcoholism, just physical, psychological addictions and dependencies. And it's also being stuck to another person in very toxic, codependent relationships. Okay, so that's the first thing. I do feel that it is linked up here with the Page of Cups. So I'm going to say that for Leo, men or women out there, I'm picking the energy up that a lot of you might be, you feel things very passionately. And I believe I mentioned last month that I feel like with Leos, they live life with their whole bodies, with their whole existence, where, your mind, your heart are always in alignment with one another. And you feel things in a very, very powerful, passionate level. And when you say, you first meet somebody and 5 minutes into a conversation with them and you're really smitten by them and you tell yourself, I think I'm in love with that person. Other people might look at that and think, oh, that's a little bit too premature. But for you, that's what you really, really feel. And if you really feel that way, no one can tell you that very, very easily. And I do feel that you want to curb this and you want to think things through a little bit more logically and think about long-term ramifications before you dash into new people, new projects, okay? Because this is not a stable, long, sustaining energy. It has the propensity to just burn out with them. And I feel that when you say you love somebody, I feel that you generally mean it. But I do feel that you have the ability to also burn out as well. And, giving too much stock into your feelings is just something that you want to steer away from. Let it, I guess, analyze it a little bit. Let it sleep on it and see if you still feel the same way a few days later. So don't rush into things, okay? I feel that because it's underneath the devil card, this is one of the things that you're grappling with. Having too many options, having too many people that you love, having too many projects that you love, and as a result, you're burning out. So you want to be careful. At the same time, I feel that for a lot of you, you might be in a situation where you're very upset, okay, and you're very upset about something, and you're very um you feel like confronting the other person, and you feel like you want some answers because that's what's coming in, like somebody is demanding answers. So you feel very upset and you don't really want to let the other person go. You don't want to let them off the hook. You're demanding some type of, knowledge, answers, truth, clarity to clear up something that's been bugging you for quite some time. And I feel like the other person is saying all the right things to appease you, but they're not giving you the truth. So this is something that you want to really keep an eye out for. Be very, very careful about charmers, okay? Like people that charms the socks off you. I feel that you are very everyone likes to be flattered, but I feel that as a Leo, you are more prone to it. So be very careful about charming people, or like, dealing with people who are very, very charming, because they're not very sincere. So you want to just be careful about that, okay? So let's talk about the rest of the cards here. I feel for a lot of you, you're juggling two things, and it's sort of like, the spiritual and the physical. So that's what I'm sensing here. Your spiritual side is telling you, that there's more to life than just this physical plane. There's, religion, philosophy, higher vibrations, all of these metaphysical things, all of these nice things. And then there's the carnal side. And I feel that the carnal side deals with, sex, it deals with addictions, it deals with all the things that we use to either escape from our reality or to keep us in a very low vibrational space. This is unhealthy relationships and ways of looking at our body image, all of these things that distort us, okay? That distort the truth of our world. And I feel like you're doing this juggling process and you're trying to decide, which kind of person do I want to be? And for a lot of you, it is a soul searching type of month where you pretty much have to make decisions when it comes to, what kind of person am I? Am I more spiritually evolved? Am I the ones that can, I guess, I guess, do I have a pure soul? Is one of those, existential questions that you're asking yourself. And at what point am I going to descend into this? So that's what I'm sensing is happening here. And it is one of those things where I feel like a lot of temptation might come through for you. And for a lot of you as well, I'm sensing this. And I feel like for a lot of you, when it comes to addictions, when it comes to, unhealthy habits, I feel that for a lot of you, you're becoming conscious about your health, and you're weeding out a lot of things that are unhealthy for you. such as sleeping, around with a lot of partners, because that can also bring about, diseases and things like that. But I feel that you're being more conscious. You're elevating on a higher vibration, and you're starting to see things with more clarity, okay? And with more precision, and you're starting to see things in a more holistic manner. It's not about, dating multiple people and breaking their hearts. It has a lot more, I guess, longer term ramifications than just that. Okay, it denotes like more of a reckless behavior, so you want to be very careful. But I do feel that for a lot of you, you're starting to see, longer term ramifications of your previous actions, or yeah, your previous actions. And I feel as a result of it, you're taking better steps, precautions in order to take care of your health. So that means, quitting drinking, not smoking anymore, and things like that. And I do feel that you're doing that mainly because you're concerned about your health. There might have been very recently some type of a health scare that came in for a lot of you within your family unit. It might be like within your family history, and as a result of it, you're feeling as if you really have to take, this health situation seriously. And if you have children especially, you do want them to have a good foundation in health. So you're trying something to drastically change your life around for the better. I do feel for a lot of you, it's more like holistic healing, juicing, eating more balanced diet. It can be something like that, or it can be something drastic where you're letting go of some type of, massive addiction that you've been dealing with for quite some time. I feel for a lot of you, it might be drinking. It might be just, drinking excessively, and also unhealthy behaviors such as juggling multiple people. Once again, we have two queens here, so I definitely feel that for a lot of you, you're dealing with water signs, and water signs are, um, excuse me, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. And I feel that for a lot of you, it might be, the Piscean energy, and you're dealing with air sign. And I feel like this queen here, the air signs are Aquarius, Gemini, Libra. The air sign is coming in the very beginning of the month, which means that this is not a new person. I have communication coming through, or well, a lot of communication coming through from this air sign. I feel like for a lot of you, you might be in a very, long-standing relationship, either with possibly with a water sign, and there is like a very strong karmic connection. There's a very significant relationship in your life right now that is a very karmic connection, and you keep going back to it, and I feel like you're going in circles, and it's very unstable. So it's sort of like, when you're on, and then some days you're off and you're seeing other people, is what I'm sensing. So there isn't a, I guess like you can say open relationship. I don't know how that works, but it's sort of like you have some kind of agreement, or at least, it's so unstable that you don't give much stock to it, and you don't even call it a relationship. And I do feel there is a very strong there's strong chemistry, and you can't really break away from it. But I do sense that there is another person that is demanding of you. I'm sensing a very strong um, Pisces vibe with this reading, because I believe it was the Pisces reading. The card fell out exactly like this. Yeah, it was the Pisces vibe. So for those of you who are dating Pisces, especially, you want to just resolve this issue, because I feel like it's cyclical, it's not going anywhere, and it's really detracting you from it. It's holding you back from really living your life, seeing other people, being in monogamous, committed relationship, because I feel like you've been juggling for so long that you don't even know what it feels like to be stable. To be grounded and to be stable. So let it go and just, move on with your life, okay? I definitely feel for a lot of you, there is, whenever I see the High Priestess and the way that the cards came out, it's sort of like this. I feel there are multiple people in the pictures, possibly two, if you are dating like if you self-identify as a Leo woman, I feel that your partner has been juggling for quite some time, and this is the month in which potentially you meet the mistress. Not in a good way, but I do feel that the other person is not aware of you. And you, vice versa, might have heard about that there is another person, but this is the month in which, they come into the picture. And I feel like this is the month in which you are calmly confronting your relationship partner, and you're calmly, putting your foot down and putting up some ground rules, or at least setting that ultimatum. But this is a very, Valentine's Day is a very contentious time period where it's a day of love, and it's a day where we celebrate love. And for Leos who are juggling multiple people, or if you are being juggled by another person, it's a very painful experience. So if you're dealing with this and for some reason there is great, physical attraction, great chemistry, and you can't break away from it, um, just this is the month in which this has to give, because you're realizing that focusing more on the carnal aspect of the relationship has left you very emotionally depleted. So you're trying to achieve this where you are trying to elevate yourself to a higher vibration by seeking out relationship partners that are more in alignment with your life path. And it takes some time, it takes some adjustment. And I call it like growing pains. And it's going to take some time. And it changes can't happen overnight. So you are still going to be tempted by the other person that is not in a good relationship partner. But the temptation is going to be there, and it's normal. Just don't succumb to it and don't go back to it, okay? This is the month in which you are going to successfully have some major breakthrough, some major breakaways from previous patterns, unhealthy habits, and things like that. So you're definitely on the right track, and don't go back to things, okay? Because I feel that you're making good progress, and I feel like by the middle of the month, when coincidentally it's the Valentine's Day, when the 14th, 15th of the month is when the temptation pulls you back in. The person whoever it is, whatever the addiction is, whatever the unhealthy tie that you have is, it's calling you. And I feel that it's a test, so you want to get over it, and then you want to move on, and you will be okay. So I want you to know that this is a month about sacrificing in, like short-term pleasures, short-term gains for long-term stability. So it is greatly about sacrificing or making concessions and weeding out the things that are no longer good in our lives in order for us to achieve growth that is a lot more meaningful and sustainable and long-term, okay? I also feel this is the month in which, for a lot of you, unfortunately, because the two queens are falling out, I'm going to say that if you are a Leo male and you're dating multiple people, and it has actually shown up like that for the past few months, if you are dating, multiple women and you're a Leo male, I feel that the women might know about each other, and it's very uncomfortable. And I don't feel that they're angry with each other because they didn't know, or they wouldn't willingly put themselves in that situation. But this is the month in which confrontations can happen, okay? But you really have to set the record straight, and you really have to step up and fix the karma that you're sowing. So this is very, very karmic. It's also a situation where feelings will be hurt, and things will be, uh, things can't be fixed. So this is pretty much the last leg of a very long, difficult journey, and you really need to set things right. And, in any situation, if you are in a relationship and your significant other has somebody else, and somehow you're just in it for the ride, you really have to get yourself out, because it is a karma sowing, type of month, and it's not looking great, okay? So, aim to be the bigger person, aim to be the better person, aim to forego your earthly desires in for spiritual expansion. I feel that that's where we need to go as a human race, but that's also where we have to make those difficult decisions to forego our temptations, or to, not give in to our temptations when we know that it's not good for us. So this is something to keep in mind, Leos. For those of you who are dating a water sign, and I feel like if it's a new water sign, you want to take it very, very slow if it's a new water sign. And I feel like if it's a new water sign, it would have happened during the Mercury in retrograde. So it would have been problematic anyways. If you are seeing a new air sign, so that is Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra, this person I feel is like, they have a lot of questions for you. And I feel like they're very directed, and they might come into love with an agenda. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I feel like they're looking more for a commitment. They've been through, the Queen of Swords is traditionally a divorced woman. And when I think of a divorced woman or a divorced person, I usually think about somebody who has seen it all. They've dealt with liars, cheaters, and all of that. They understand human nature. They understand the whole emotional roller coaster of being in a marriage. So I feel that they have this, internal radar for BS. So I also sense, because of it, they are going to ask important questions. And I feel like a lot of you, if it's an air sign, male or female, they are going to ask a lot of questions. If you're concealing information, it is going to come to light because they're very analytical. So it's something to keep in mind, and, possibly very, very highly psychic, intuitive as well. The water sign, not so much. I feel like if it's a new water sign, it's you want to take it slow if you want it to work. If it's an old water sign, they are quickly exiting your life, and I don't feel there's any way it can come back together, but there is a lot of physical chemistry and a lot of temptation associated with this, okay? So let's talk about your financial situation. I do feel that you have more than enough, and you have to really budget to live within your means. But I feel like there is a penchant for luxury goods. You want to live the good life. And I feel that for a lot of you, this is where the drain on your finances is not about, not having enough. It's more just living within your means is what I'm sensing. I do have here the Nine of Swords in the reverse position. This is a situation where, overcoming mental anxiety and anguish, when it's in the reverse, it looks very good. You're overcoming it, and your ties to money is going to be your whatever, unhealthy ties, unhealthy ways of thinking about money, of making money, or whatever it is. You are coming to a place where you're realizing that money is just a material thing, and at least your financial situation is going to stabilize enough where you're starting to see clarity when it comes to how you relate yourself to money in the past, okay? The devil is also greatly about status consciousness, I feel. It's kind of like a situation where I guess like the mirror image of it is similar to the Hierophant, but the Hierophant deals more with spirituality, whereas with the devil, once again, it is more earthly desires and things like that. So I do feel that this is the month in which, spiritual truths, spiritual elevation is going to help you break away from all the binds that have kept you down in the past, and for you to understand the power money, status, people, addictions, and things like that have kept you down. Okay, so this is like you're starting to see this for what it is, and you're starting to see that in order to break away from it, you are going to have to, pursue things more on the metaphysical level and elevating your vibration. I feel that that's what's coming in here, and that's why the High Priestess is showing up too. It is a very spiritual card. I also feel as well with the High Priestess, it's information being revealed so that we can make better informed decisions, okay?